Welcome, my friend. Today, we open our hearts to a powerful subject: healing generational trauma through African wisdom. This is not an easy path, but it is a necessary one. Trauma carried through families, communities, and even entire nations can shape the way we live, think, and love. Yet, just as pain can pass through generations, so too can healing. Understanding generational trauma. Generational trauma is the pain that is handed down, often without words. It shows itself in patterns: fear that we cannot explain, anger that feels larger than the moment, sadness that lingers even when life is good. For Black communities, this is especially true. The wounds of slavery, colonization, displacement, and systemic injustice run deep. Even when we have never experienced these events directly, their impact lives within our families and our bodies. But African wisdom reminds us that we are not defined by trauma alone. We are defined by resilience, by survival, by the love that carried our ancestors through storms so that we could stand here today. The ancestors as guides. In many African traditions, ancestors are not gone. They walk with us. They are our first teachers. They whisper to us in dreams, guide us through intuition, and strengthen us when we feel weak. When we think of generational trauma, we must also think of generational strength. For every wound that was passed down, there was also courage, laughter, music, and joy. Our ancestors gave us not only their struggles, but also their remedies. A healing practice can be as simple as calling upon them. Light a candle, speak their names. Say, "I carry your strength, but I release your pain." This act alone can shift something deep within. The power of storytelling. Storytelling is one of the greatest healing tools of African wisdom. Through stories, families have carried memory and lessons for centuries. To heal generational trauma, we must be willing to tell the stories of our past, painful and the powerful. Ask your elders about their lives. Write down what they share. Journal your own memories, even if they feel heavy. It allows you to see patterns, to name wounds, and to understand that what you feel is not yours alone. And when you share your own story with others, you give them permission to heal as well. Remember, silence holds pain in place, but storytelling sets it free. Community as medicine. A proverb tells us, "One finger cannot lift a pebble." Healing cannot be done alone. Trauma isolates, but community reconnects. When we gather, whether in families, circles of friends, or larger communities, we create spaces for collective healing. This is why African traditions place such importance on ceremony, music, and shared meals. For these moments are not only about culture, they are about repair. Dancing, drumming, and singing are not just celebrations. They are therapies that reconnect body, mind, and spirit. If you carry generational trauma, seek community, join spaces where others are committed to healing. Remember, what feels unbearable alone becomes lighter when carried together. Journaling for release. Writing is a powerful tool for breaking cycles of pain. Take a proverb and use it as a journaling prompt. For example, however long the night, the dawn will break. Ask yourself, what night do I carry from my ancestors? How does it still show up in me? What dawn do I want to bring to my family's story? Through journaling, you are not only expressing pain, you are rewriting your family's narrative. You are planting seeds of hope where there was once silence. Embodied healing trauma is not only in the mind, it lives in the body. Which is why dance, drumming, and movement were central to African life. To shake the body, to release through song, to let tears flow. These are not signs of weakness, but acts of freedom. Even today, you can use movements as healing, Put on music that speaks to your spirit. Feel the rhythm as medicine. With every step, every sway, every clap. Imagine yourself releasing the chains of the past and stepping into new freedom. Honoring pain without becoming it. Healing generational trauma does not mean pretending the pain never existed. It means acknowledging it and choosing not to let it control the future. There is an Akan proverb that says, "The ruin of a nation begins in the homes of its people." This wisdom reminds us that if pain remains unspoken and unresolved in our homes, it can spread through generations. But the opposite is also true. When healing begins in the home, it ripples outward into the community and beyond. So, when you feel the weight of generational trauma, anger, fear, pause. Place your hand on your heart. Say to yourself, "This is real. This is not my fault. But I will choose healing, reconnecting with nature." African traditions often teach that the earth itself is a healer. Generational trauma can make us feel disconnected, restless, and unsafe. But the earth offers grounding. Walk barefoot on the soils, sit under a tree, listen to the wind or the water. These practices are not just relaxation, they are spiritual medicine. Our ancestors lived close to the land, and in reconnecting with nature, we reconnect with them. Next time you feel overwhelmed, step outside, look up at the sky, and remember, the same sky your ancestors saw is above you now. You are part of a long chain. Transforming pain into purpose. One of the most powerful ways to heal generational trauma is to transform pain into purpose. Many of the greatest leaders, teachers, and healers in our communities have drawn strength from their wounds. Ask yourself, what pain have I inherited? And how can I turn it into service, wisdom, or creation? Perhaps it becomes art, perhaps it becomes mentoring the young. In every case, what was once a burden can become a blessing. The role of forgiveness. Forgiveness is another path our ancestors taught us. Not the kind of forgiveness that ignores wrongdoing, but the kind that frees us from carrying poison in our own hearts. When we forgive, we are not excusing the harm. We are saying, "This harm will not define me. I will not let it live in my spirit any longer." If forgiveness feels too big, begin with compassion. Understand that those who harmed you were often carrying wounds of their own. Daily practices for healing. Healing generational trauma is not a single event. It is a lifelong journey, but small daily practices can bring steady transformation. Here are some to consider. Morning affirmations. Begin each day with words like, "I am the dream of my ancestors. I choose healing." Journaling. Write one reflection daily on how you can release inherited pain. Ancestral connection. Light a candle or speak aloud the name of an ancestor who gives you strength. Movement, dance, stretch, or walk mindfully to release energy from the body. Community care. Each week, check in on someone in your circle. Healing spreads when shared. The dawn will break. Return again to the proverb, "However long the night, the dawn will break." Generational trauma may feel like a long night, but dawn always comes. Healing is possible. Closing reflections. As we close this time together, carry these truths with you. Generational trauma is real, but so is generational strength. Our ancestors gave us not only their struggles, but also their remedies. Storytelling, community, and ritual are powerful medicines. Healing begins in the body, the spirit, and the land around us. By choosing to heal, you heal for the generations before you and the generations yet to come. Take one small step this week. Maybe it is journaling, maybe it is reaching out to an elder, maybe it is simply resting without guilt. Remember this, you are part of a greater story. You carry not only wounds, but also wisdom, courage, and light. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for choosing healing. Together, with African wisdom as our guide, we can transform pain into purpose and build a future filled with resilience and hope. Peace be with you.